So the race season is off to an awesome start. The first official race of the season is now in the books. And at the end of every race, I wanted to analyze what happened and take down for myself lessons that I learned, whether it's my tech, equipment, nutrition, mindset, or how I felt overall, just to summarize it all to see how I can improve my performance on the next race. So a couple of things happened during this race, and I'll start going over the lessons first, starting with the tech. No matter how you think you are prepared, there's always going to be something. And what happened with this particular race, I have two watches, and my newer watch has a screen that was damaged recently. So I was using my older watch, and what I didn't realize that on that older watch, I never had a race as a template set up for duathlon. So I had to improvise. So what I've done is I turn it in a triathlon mode. So obviously the first leg of the race should be a run because it's a duathlon, and I had a swim. So I'll get back to it a little bit later. So the lesson is check your tech stack to make sure you are prepared. Then on a bike, and it was too late to do anything at that point, when I was warming up, and it didn't show up during a warm-up a day prior to the race. It actually came on the race day. My power meter battery was running low. Obviously, it's not a huge concern because it's a short race, but on a longer race, when you're depending on structuring your power output, it might be critical. So for me, the next thing moving forward is, in the beginning of the season, I want to replace the battery in my power meter and in my heart rate monitor, because those are two large battery dependent components that can help you over the course of the race to pace yourself. Then the next component was my wheels, and I have a disc wheel, which is a complete wheel, which is solid in the rear of the bike. And we had 50 plus miles per hour gusts on that day. So that led me to think I have to really look into possibly other alternatives depending on the weather. Not necessarily a disc, but a shorter rim. And I started browsing, and I discovered some tubeless tires. So now I'm thinking about investing in actually tubeless wheel, where I need to really research it a little bit further just to see if this is the direction I want to go. But one way or the other, I'm looking for other alternative for my rear wheel instead of a disc wheel. Nutrition. I always wanted to find an ultimate food intake for me personally, because everyone is individual. People will tell you you have to take X, Y, and Z number of calories, and it really depends on your body. So my food intake typically was 3 hours prior to the race. I would have my breakfast, which is a bagel with peanut butter. Then hour and a half prior to the race, that's typically when you get to the transition, cup of coffee, and a Cliff Bar. That's the first breakfast is about 900 calories, so to speak. This one, Cliff Bar, about 250. And then about half an hour before the race, you have 3 gels, so you can kind of prepare for a push. So in the last few races, I felt a little bit, let's just call it, too much with food inside of me. So I have decided to skip the bar at an hour and a half, and I actually felt better. So I have a race coming up in a week, so I'm definitely gonna be testing that out. I just want to see if that is the direction I want to go, and instead take a first calorie intake on the bike a little bit sooner. And finally, a mindset. And this is where you start testing yourself and how you operate under change of circumstances, because every race is different. And even though this race was exact same route as a year and a half ago, but a lot of things changed. Wind, I get older, whatever the case might be. So the watch wasn't functioning. So on the first run, I had to go based on how my body felt at a time. So pacing myself not to exhaust going into the bike, but at the same time maintain pretty much closer pace to the max that I could. And it was actually not bad. Now, on the last leg, similar story. This is where your mindset starts kicking in. And what's interesting, there was one athlete that was pretty much following me the entire race. He was a little bit ahead of me in the beginning of the run. I got ahead of him towards the end. He was following me closely on the bike, and we practically got together into the transition. But because I was transitioning off the bike on the fly, so my transition time was much shorter, I went ahead of him, and I pretty much finished with the same gap of time. So again, all those little components and pushing yourself just to make sure they didn't get from behind you is critical. So that was the overview of what I learned about myself, equipment, circumstances, and now the outcome. First race of the season, great start, first place in the age group, and 6th place overall. 2 very important progressions for me. My pace on the run actually improved compared to the last year. The first loop I did 16 seconds faster, and this is a little bit over a mile loop. So for me, run is the discipline where I'm trying to improve the most. This is where I think I can get the most leverage during the race for me personally. So I pay attention to a run and ways I can improve it. On the second loop, which is again towards the end of the race, 2 things happened. First of all, this race, even though it was by 1 second faster, it was a faster loop anyway. But compared to last year, it was actually 25 seconds faster. So to speak, if last year I kind of faded towards the finish, this year I was actually stronger towards the end of the race. And that all goes to training and consistency, which I'm pretty happy to see. So again, awesome outcome. There are some clips of the race some of the highlights. So watch, enjoy, subscribe, and I'll see you after the next race. See ya. Triathlon season is about to start. We are in Cedar Park in Seaford, and in the back, guys are working on setting up the transition area. So tomorrow is the day we're gonna get it rolling. Last year I placed first in my age group, and this year I'm actually going up in an age group. I'm gonna be in the age group of 55 to 59. And last year there was a guy that was just killing it. So it's going to be a tough competition. I'm sure he's probably gonna be here tomorrow, but we're gonna have some fun. So I'm gonna take a ride just to get a feel for the course. Last year there were some, let's just call it potholes and areas that you wanna avoid. That is one thing that you wanna do really before the race. Get to know the course so you don't get it flat, especially when you have a sprint race. If you have a flat on the sprint, your race is done. Okay, so I'm gonna check the scores and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, see ya. And here we go, the race day. People starting to check in already. I am all set. My bike is ready to rock. I'm gonna test it on the road right now. It's windy and blowing today, so it's kind of interesting with the disc wheel I got, how it's gonna affect the bike. We'll find out. I'm gonna go for a warm up right now. Another hour and we're gonna keep rolling.
Come on, 30. Right, 30 seconds on the 30 seconds light. Greg is going to give you the stop. Hold on.
I haven't thought about this at all.
Robbie, come over and take the microphone, right? You got 30 seconds, people. 30 seconds.
Sunday, come on. You got it. You got it.
Cedar Presperna from New Connecticut. Rich Flores from East Mauritius. Michael Gallagher from Chappaqua. Joseph Minetti. In second place from Big Sales, Frank Del Balso. And in first place from Newton, Connecticut, Igor Presbotera. Igor Presbotera. That goes without saying, if I butcher your name, please let me know when I was saying correctly. Alright, let's hear it for him. Next up, we've got females 50 to 54.